Chapter 19. An Unusual Absorption. At the very moment Eldran began his incursion into hell. Back on Earth, the battle between Ub and Teiku, the warrior unleashed from another time, continued with implacable ferocity. "You are strong, without a doubt, but useless against my technique," the villain said, raising his arm as he prepared to launch a powerful attack toward a defenseless Ub. Just then, a thunderous noise shook the battlefield. Mr. Boo crashed onto the scene, radiating a power that few on Earth could match. "Boo will help Ub!" he roared, lunging at the ancient warrior. The combat continued, but to the surprise of Teiku and Ub, Mr. Boo seemed indestructible. The warrior's attacks, no matter how powerful, barely caused any real damage, and Boo's pink body regenerated instantly, as if nothing had happened. Mr. Boo gave his belly a loud slap. "Boo doesn't break so easy." Frustrated, the warrior extended his hand. "Then I will reduce your energy." However, both the warrior and a wounded Ub were astounded to see that the suppression had no effect on the Majin. Mr. Boo's elastic and malleable nature, combined with his constant regeneration, made him immune to ki reduction. The warrior blinked, incredulous. "Damn it, I'll have to disintegrate you." He began to concentrate a massive amount of energy, turning the air heavy and oppressive. In that critical moment, Ub, fresh from Dende's healing on Kami's lookout, saw the opening. "Now!" With an explosion of speed, Ub blindsided him with a massive, full-power strike. The impact was devastating, sending Teiku flying hundreds of meters through the sky. Mr. Boo, realizing his own strength wouldn't be enough to finish the fight, had an unusual idea. "Boo won't let Ub lose." Without hesitating, he lunged at the young man. His body expanded into a gelatinous mass, swallowing him up and absorbing him. In an instant, Mr. Boo's form shifted. He became more compact, his face taking on a more serious and cunning expression. The Majin's power skyrocketed, far surpassing Eldran's warrior. Teiku, unable to comprehend what had just happened, but sensing Boo's newly superior power, attempted to use the suppression once more. However, that energy remained completely beyond the reach of that technique. "Just what kind of monster are you?" he spat in disbelief. "Boo isn't weak anymore," the Majin bellowed. With overwhelming speed and strength, Boo dominated the warrior, causing the enemy's dark aura to flicker erratically. Cornered, the invader unleashed a wild burst of energy. The impact shook the entire lookout. Several interior rooms were damaged by the shock, and the floor cracked beneath the feet of Dende and Mr. Popo, who barely managed to keep their balance. Then, Boo threw a final blow charged with energy. The impact was devastating. The enemy's dark aura shattered and vanished completely. Finally, with a cry of agony, the warrior fell, unconscious and freed from his control. After the battle, Boo spat Ub out. The boy recovered his normal size instantly. Mr. Boo let out a weak laugh. "Boo feels weird, but happy." Ub looked at him with a tired but sincere air. "Thanks, Boo. Without you, we wouldn't have made it." A few meters away, on the tiles of the lookout, the ancient warrior opened his eyes. He blinked, breathing with difficulty, and sat up clumsily. Where?" he stammered, bringing a hand to his head. "What chaos?" Ub approached cautiously. "Relax. It's over. You were under his control." The warrior looked up, confused, trying to situate himself. "The last thing I remember clearly," he murmured with a raspy voice, "is that damn sword. I felt the seal break. Then, that bastard managed to defeat me, and I fell unconscious. Since then, everything has been a blur. He took a deep breath, forcing his memory. But before that, I remember that battle perfectly, when I fought alongside the gods. Oob frowned. The gods? Do you mean the Supreme Kais? Yes, Teku nodded slowly. I was at the top of a tower in their world, with the eldest one. He was trying to awaken my power, but Eldran noticed. The old man summoned his sword and cast his spell from a distance. Oob's eyes widened in surprise. The Elder Kai was with you? Exactly. Teku hardened his expression. Eldran was already expecting it. He dodged his spell as if it were nothing, and counterattacked using the sword he had stolen from another Supreme Kai. The Elder was sealed instantly, and his sword clattered to my feet. The Elder's sword fell there? Oob murmured. Teku gritted his teeth as he recalled it. Yes, I had no idea what those weapons were, but I understood I couldn't leave it there. I took it, and then he came straight for me. He tried to run me through with his blade, but I threw myself to the side and dodged by a miracle. His sword embedded itself in the rock at the top of the tower. I didn't give him a moment to try and pull it out. I lunged at him. He paused, his gaze lost in the memory. I fought with everything I had, but that damn technique of his drained my energy. My blows were losing strength. The suppression technique, Oob whispered. Yes, Teku nodded slowly. The other Supreme Kais threw themselves in with me. It didn't affect them, and I thought we could stand up to him. But even so, he was above us. His expression darkened. One of them, the youngest, attacked head-on. His blade shattered into pieces when it clashed against Eldran's body. And he didn't last much longer either. He fell silent for a moment. Then he looked up, with a tired but firm glint. I could barely stay on my feet. Eldran ripped the sword from my hands and sealed me inside it. That was the last thing. Darkness. And then I woke up here. Teku's look became urgent. Wait a moment. Do you know the Elder? Did he manage to get out of that sword? Oob nodded. From what I was told, that sword broke about 15 years ago. That was how he was freed. Teku looked at him in silence for a few seconds, incredulous. 15 years? He murmured, stunned. All of this happened that long ago? Oob approached slowly and placed a hand on his shoulder. No, it's been 15 years since the Elder Kai was freed. But your battle happened much longer ago, millions of years ago. Teku's eyes remained fixed on the void, and his expression cracked for an instant. Millions, he whispered, his voice barely audible. Oob leaned a little toward him. I'm sorry. It must be very hard to wake up like this. Teku closed his eyes for a second, and a tremor shook his shoulders. Then he let out a brief, harsh laugh. Great! I take a nap, and the universe decides to get old without me. Mr. Boo tilted his head. Boo slept a long time too, but not that long. Teku tried to stand up, but his legs wavered. All right, start talking. I need to know everything. I've got some unfinished business with that bastard. At that moment, Dende stepped forward with concern, while Mr. Popo remained at his side, attentive. Your body has suffered greatly from the mind control, Dende said. You must rest if you want to be of help. We will prepare a room inside the lookout for you to recover your strength. Teku wanted to protest, but a strong wave of dizziness forced his head to slump. Oob smiled at him sincerely. Listen to him. Eldran is more dangerous than ever, and we will need you at 100%. By the way, what is your name? The warrior kept silent for a moment, realizing the boy was right. After exhaling heavily, he replied, "My name is Teiku." Without saying anything else, he accepted Mr. Popo's offer and entered the lookout to recover his strength. Earth had been saved, for now, thanks to an unexpected combination of bravery and an improvised plan. But the ancient warrior's revelations only confirmed the complexity and antiquity of the threat. The real battle had only just begun.